Oh,
Is it okay that I record this, you guys, just in case you want a copy of it later, or
yes,
we want to look at?
absolutely.
Okay. And hi, Jamie, and this is Lisa Marie Clinton on the line with us.
Hello, and Ricky's here.
Hi, guys.
And Ricky?
Yeah.
Hi, nice to see you, Ricky.
Hi.
So there you are, Jamie. So
No, it's our lighting is not good, so I apologize.
oh, okay. Can you see us okay?
Yep, yeah, I can see you.
Okay, and I'm gonna make Lisa Marie Clinton the host in just a minute here and let her go through it, but I just thought it quick, just introduce. Oh, is it the light in the back that is that?
The blinds.
I can I mean that's probably that's better.
Yeah, all we could see was like lines of light across the screen. We couldn't
Oh
really
no.
So now we're good.
Good.
Can you guys can see okay? You think it's gonna be okay or?
Yeah, it'll be fine.
Okay. All right. Well, I just want to take a minute to introduce Lisa Marie Clinton. She's the founder of Avail by Central Reach, and it's been a whirlwind since I met her. I can't remember if it was 2 or 3 months ago, to be quite honest. Longer probably, where she found me online. Just because, you know, she's worked, she's the founder of Avail by Central Reach, and Avail was purchased by Central Reach, but she's been using it in Ireland and is a behavioral therapist, has a background in special education, and works with DOR and day service providers right now mostly, and they want to start using Avail with educators. And so everyone told her you need to talk to the pays people, and so that's how she got connected with me. And so now I am selling Avail and have packages that I can sell individual licenses and things. So anyways, I'm going to share my screen with Lisa Marie and let her take kind of over and show you. Oh, this is sharing my screen. Sorry about that.
Oh, yeah. If you just
stop that, I'm going to make you host. I'm going to do this right. Yep. There we go. Sorry about that, guys.
I got it. Can you see my screen?
Yes, we can see your screen.
Okay. So yeah, as Heidi mentioned, developed the solution, and I'll kind of go into a bit of the background of why. He actually came from education myself, but we developed Avail, and we just kind of, you know, employment kind of took off as being an immediate need to support job coaches and kind of day services and kind of some of those pre-ETS kind of programs as well. So we work with Central Reach, and they are the leaders in autism and developmental kind of software and services within the space. So they do a lot of maybe, you know, billing management kind of in the ABA space, but also then have a host of educational products, and Avail is one of those that really kind of specialize in transition and into kind of employment and independent living. So I'm guessing that's what kind of you guys are kind of most interested in, or is there an area that you'd like to focus on more? Yeah, the transition space, is it?
Yeah, so I work for a private provider, and we provide day hab and employment services and residential services to individuals with intellectual and developmental disabilities, and we contract with the school districts in our area to provide pre-ETS services. And so I had seen and spoken briefly with Heidi when she was at a conference in Minot a couple months ago, and I had reached out to Jamie just to see if we could get more information about the software, or the platform, and how it could potentially be used, because we're always looking for ways to make people more independent and less dependent on job coach presence or job coach prompting to be able to be in, I mean, our ultimate goal for everyone is competitive integrated employment in a community setting. And so the more tools we have at our disposal for that, the better.
Yeah. Brilliant. Well, look, I'll kind of speak to a bit of both then through the presentation so you get to see. But as you mentioned, we've done a lot of work in that space, and we're here now schools that are wanting to utilize it as part of a IEP goals or transition plan. But you know, we have worked with regional development centres, DVR, and into kind of Medicaid, and depending on how those licenses flow through those different funders. But excuse me, hopefully you'll see a bit of both. So let me skip to this. So the why. So, you know, systematic instructions or task analysis, you know, we know that it's kind of best or promising practices that we use. And definitely getting in the job coaching area that you're breaking an employment duty or whatever it may be down into simple to follow prompts, but also obviously in education. And picture-based prompts. Do I have this? Normally I have this here. You know, to give the example of how often have you guys created picture-based prompts like this? And really kind of years ago when I was working with my individuals, I questioned, well, how can you digitalize that? Surely we're seeing all of our students coming with our phones and they're engaged and they're looking at videos, and it's time to digitalize these, that we can create them easily, that you're not sitting laminating and Velcro and missing a prompt and then the whole schedule is kind of redundant. How can we really enhance these, and how can we scale the content that we're creating as educators? And then for me, it was, well, what happens post school? What happens outside of school? How can we ensure that this cliff effect doesn't happen, that the skills that my students have mastered can be maintained, and hopefully they've opportunities to learn other skills? But it's very hard when you're trying to write all this down on a, you know, an IEP or kind of some plan for leaving. So how can we digitalize those? And then how can we make life easier, that we can have quantifiable data? Now, you know, it's better in education, but as we go into kind of adulthood, we're missing the data that shows that someone is improving or actively kind of, you know, achieving these skills, that's quantifiable and not subjective. Like when I was doing, I find myself repeating, oh, Joe is continuing to work on this skill, or, you know, skills rolling on to multiple years where we're not really actively working as well as we should on kind of demonstrating how, whether we're, you know, progressing that skill or it's being achieved. But that was kind of my experience as well. So trying to add quantifiable data against goals easily, because, you know, we're not going to be sitting with a clipboard entering in data. We don't have time for that, but can a system do it for us? And then to pull other people into that network as well, like parents, like a job coach, like, you know, the example here that we have a provider as well that's working in a school setting. How can everyone work together to help that student achieve their goals? These are the pain points that I had, and the reason for me as an educator to create Avail. I don't know if these are pain points that you guys can resonate with and kind of have experienced yourselves. Yeah.
Definitely. These are definitely things that we battle with all the time, is trackable, measurable goals, how to keep that data, how to keep data when you don't have a job coach there all the time. You know, a lot of the same things you're talking about.
And right now the staffing is probably at a, you know, a high level of need.
Yeah, we hear that. We actually have an example in New Mexico, Farmington, New Mexico, which is, you know, really remote, and DVR said that they could not deliver any real kind of services in that area, and they were like, well, we can't get providers, we can't get staff, and then it was so remote, and they were like, well, look, they were forced to look at technology as a way of service delivery. So they implemented Avail alongside kind of reduced hours of job coaching, as like it wasn't kind of seen as really innovation. It was a need that we needed to deliver a service, and this is a model that they piloted to see would it work, because you know they had to do something, and they've now scaled it. And that was kind of forced out of the reduction of kind of staff being available, but it's now a very successful model for them, and they've continued to expand it. So it's, you know, we don't say that we want to replace, but we want to augment the services, the one-to-one services that's being delivered through technology. Okay, so what avail is, you know, it's kind of that digital task analysis. Think of your job coach, your paraprofessional, your teacher, your support staff. How can we, as I mentioned, augment? How can we extend the services that you're delivering by looking at, you know, digital prompts and technology to utilize that through a smart device? So, but it's not just about content creation. As we mentioned, the data is so important. We utilize kind of and collect data points innovatively, than that you can be presented on a report that you can then utilize part of your kind of, you know, your data management system. But let me show you an example. This was a job fair where we just had a table and we had an activity presented. Students were kind of interacting and coming up to different booths. And we had the activity, and we kind of tried two different approaches to it. One was delivering just your verbal instructions as you would be doing, you know, on site. So, well, do it this way and you didn't do it this way. So very much one-to-one. And the second was, okay, what happens now if we deliver digital prompts? Is there a difference? Is there a higher engagement? You know, do you enjoy using that? Do you not? Do you think you could learn better or accelerate learning using these digital prompts? So we just recorded the process, and here's the video to show it.
During the Project Search Assessment Day in New Mexico, each individual that visited the avail table was asked to fold silverware with two different teaching methods. The first method was just a few visuals and verbal cues. And then again, using digital prompts with the Avail app to complete the task. Chris and Megan are shown here completing the task with in-person verbal prompting coming from the Avail specialist. Prompting was required to complete the necessary steps. During each learner's second attempt, they used video modeling, images, and audio prompts using the Avail software to complete the task independently without the previous in-person prompts. This was the learner view when using Avail to roll the silverware.
Go get a knife, a fork, and a spoon and a napkin. Put knife in the top corner of napkin.
Avail offers a built-in assessment tool to help staff identify mastery and fade out prompts to reach independence. An assessment was completed during each learner's first and second attempt of this task. Taryn reached 50% accuracy in his first attempt and 87.5% on his second attempt using Avail. Aiden reached 12.5% accuracy on his first attempt and 87.5% accuracy on his second attempt using Avail. Megan reached 12.5% accuracy on her first attempt and 100% on her second attempt using Avail. On average, each learner reached between 87.5% and 100% accuracy during the second attempt of folding silverware when using Avail versus traditional verbal and visual prompting. By using Avail's digital prompts, each individual can learn the specific instructions for each step in this task, replay those steps, and complete the task with more accuracy and confidence.
Any questions on that, guys, just to kind of give a good overview of looks like. I know it's hard to kind of, you know, present it, but I think when you see the users interacting with it, and you know, for me, that's kind of what's exciting, that the traction that they get from innovating the practices that we've been doing for years. Yeah, well, oh, your question, sorry.
I was just gonna ask, and I'm assuming just from that short little demonstration that the software, the program is customizable to each different job task that you'd need somebody
Absolutely.
to do, right?
And that's you know, that's the
How many
kind
different
of
job tests do you have that are already customized?
Oh, sorry, I missed that one.
I'm sorry. I was just wondering how many like jobs you have already created that are customizable.
So we have some. Again, we're kind of looking for partnerships to work with, you know, both employers and for agencies that are willing to kind of share some. We do have some examples on, you know, interview skills and community skills and some job tasks. But again, we don't take any content that's created, we don't take it and kind of share it, unless obviously somebody kind of approves it and are willing to share it. So you can use some of that templates, but again, I'll show you a video of how easy it is to create your own. So one, you can use our template and content that we have available, or it's very easy just to create your own on a smart device compared to what the traditional ways of doing it is. You know, create in a minute, not in minutes. Not, I'll show you that right now. So again, just going back to the pre and post, as you can see here, this is the traditional measure approach, or even just physical guidance, being present with a student or an employee all the time, compared to, excuse me, augmenting what you do and invest in some of that content creation, but then have it as a resource that your individual has, but also your school or your agency has to share, to train up new, you know, newcoming kind of employees, or as you mentioned, the pre-ets. What I'd love to do is to work in kind of partnerships, and you guys know the local employers in your area. How can we create different folders of like induction courses of what it looks like, and maybe focus on the top 10 employment duties that employer that relates to that employment setting, create it, and then have this ability to share it with many, to give them an understanding of what it looks like to work there and to prepare them for possible jobs. But let me skip on and show you what that looks like to create it, because I think that's kind of one of the high level points that you want to see. So this really is the screen for creating, and I have a video to show this in action. So you have your title of your steps, so going through your task analysis. What is step one of using a certain machine in your workforce, or clocking in and out? And then you create the multimedia prompt, video, audio, text, or image of that step. Do you want to add a timer? Should they complete this in a certain time? Or do they need to focus on it? Maybe it's cleaning something, or maybe it's whatever it may be, that there's an allocated time to it, and then a safety icon. You just go through this process, step 1, 2, and 3, and continue to create that content. And once it's created, either on a smart device, iOS or Android, phone or tablet, whatever it may be, it will be loaded up to your account, so your school account or your agency account. Now, there's 2 ways of creating this content. It can be done on the app, or it can be done on the web portal. So you might have content available, and you can just upload it to, you know, a laptop either, because avail, the 2 components to avail is the application and the web portal, so you can do it in both. So then you can imagine the student has exposure, they're viewing the tasks. You can set reminders. So you can say, I want you to prep, you know, before you go to work, before you go to school. I want you to work on maybe behavior management skills or calming strategies, whatever it may be that is relevant to that student. And they can get a reminder on their phone to do so. And then you also collect information to show that, excuse me, sorry, I don't know what's wrong with my throat today, but exposure to show how long and how often that person has access that content. So here's the piece where we're getting into the data connection that you can see in this bottom screen here, the time spent on a certain task. So you're getting remote data relating to that goal that you've set out, which, you know, would be very difficult to do kind of one-to-one. And then, as you mentioned, there's an assessment piece. So from assessments and observation, you should hopefully see an upward trend on this graph at the top, that you can demonstrate that I've created this goal. Here's the exposure to have with it. When I done the assessment, this is the graph to demonstrate that they are progressing and achieving this goal, and it's all collected in a report. And I'm going to show you that report as well. And then at the end, obviously, as you mentioned, you have multiple different contributors. So with each license for a learner, you can have multiple different people who you may select that should be part of this profile to either, you know, tweak content at home. So you might create something for home, and you're like, parent, please change this picture of the person's bedroom or their kitchen or their cooker or whatever it may be. And likewise, you might have a job coach and you're saying, or an employer, and you're like, look, I just want you to tweak step 3 to show your clock-in machine or whatever it may be. But so, Jamie, the question you had, how do you create content or what does that look like? Here's an example of how you'd create it on the application.
And they'll select the add step button in the bottom right hand corner.
So here you've logged in as the application, you're a facilitator on the system, you've created a task, so your skill is watering plants, and now you want to create the steps of what is expected from the user when they water their plants.
A staff member could also choose to edit a task. They needed to change the title, the image, the repertoire, or description. But from here, we can begin to add and edit steps. So we'll select the Add Step button. We'll title our step. And then we'll see all of the different prompts that we can choose from within the Avail application. These prompts include video, audio, image, or text. An audio or image could be combined. A timer could be set, and a safety icon could be set as well. From here, we'll decide what the best prompt for this learner is. We can choose image. We could choose to take a photo or upload an image from our device. For this step, we're going to take an image directly from the app. And once we're satisfied with this step, we'll select Add Step. From here, we can see that this step has been added, and we can choose the 3 dots on the right-hand side to edit that step or deactivate that step. And if this is not the only step in our task, we can again select the blue icon at the bottom that says Add Step. We'll title that step.
So that's the process of creating content. Jimmy, does that kind of give you a further kind of understanding of that process?
Yes. Yep.
Yeah, great. And if I have time at the end, I might take you to the library and show you the examples of some of the content that we have. So kind of relating to your question as well, these are some examples that we see. Again, we probably have a lot of this content on the system, and some of the others are just examples that providers or those that are on the system are using or trying to master or creating content for. Again, you know, we'd like to be kind of expanding this, working in partnership with folks. But so anything from employment to daily living skills to I've got employment there twice, to life skills to self-care. So again, think of your IEP plans or your transition plans or your employment settings, and then question how can you digitalize some of those prompts, because that's really where you get the most benefit, is that you go through that person's day, or what services you're delivering right now, and then how can you digitalize it through Avail. And that's what we kind of bring you through when we go through our training, that we go through those examples of students that you're working with, or cases that you have, or goals that you have, or programs that you have, and how can we maximize that by augmenting it through technology. And these are some examples of the reports. So they're just screenshots from the reports, but we take so the learner, all of this, again, it was important for us that it's very limited input from staff, because teachers don't have time, job coaches don't have time, but we really value this information. So we need to collect it some way, but minimum touch points from those users. So really from the facilitator creating the content, and then the learner's use, so it's the learner just uses the system, and then from an assessments, we get all of this rich information. So you know, we do have an investment, a small investment upfront for creating the content, and then the rest is just do your observation and complete your assessments, and you have this type of information. So the learner's time spent on the system. In some states, they actually use this as like billing. So they can say, look, we're delivering a service, it's virtually, here's the person's time spent, or here's the facilitator's time spent, and here's a report to validate error billing hours. Again, actually go back to Mexico, it's they're utilizing it again because this is the type of service that they're delivering. So the number of tasks that was that's per learner, tasks completed, any tasks mastered, and the number of assessments. And then I love this piece because I think we kind of can be quite subjective in how we're achieving goals. But if you present this to either a parent or community partner or a funder, you're actually showing how you've personalized it for the student and how you're teaching it. So they really have got a great understanding of the services that you're providing, because you're just pulling these prompts from the system and it's just presented easily in a report. So all of these reports are per learner and per goals. So you really get a lot of information. You probably don't want maybe half of it, but it's available to you. So you see the prompts and then you see the graph to show progression. And then any comments. So you might have added a comment with an assessment that student has been off over Christmas or has been sick, and that there's been a decline or whatever it may be. Is that kind of data points that you'd be looking for to add to your reports?
Do you have, oh, sorry. Do you have any private providers like my company that are currently using this with people at work?
Yes, yeah. I actually, if I get time, I'll pull it up. We have an example from our Fresno. They actually have a nice video example that I can send it to you later, or I can share it now. But we've Easter seals. We've multiple kind of support employment agencies. We have Project Search. So we've multiple examples that and videos that I can share later.
That would be awesome.
Ricky, I think when I saw you in North Dakota at the conference, I talked to you about that I had met that president of Fresno ARC and how he reduced his job coaching time. That's who I was talking about. And that's what Lisa Marie Clinton is saying. She's got a video that he has made. I think I don't know who made it, but it's just about that. So we can show that if you have time.
Yeah, I'll see. I'm actually at the end of
that.
Yeah, we have 15 minutes. So I'm just thinking maybe if you could send it to us, that'd be great.
Yeah, sure. Well, look, we have 15 minutes. Is there anything else? I'm kind of at the end of the presentation that you kind of get an overview of it. But if you want, I can try and squeeze everything in. But I could definitely show you the content in the library. Or I can pull up that video. So you guys let me know. And then obviously we want a discussion at the end if you have any further questions or next steps. But let me know what you want to see.
why don't you pull up the content in the library, and then if you could just send us the video, that would probably be great.
Yeah, okay. Just give me a moment till I get in. Okay. So this is the web portal. So again, you kind of have a dashboard here of just kind of activities of or you know, organization data points, and then let's go to the library. So this is your organization library. This is your school's library. So you could pull and drag some content into yours. And then this is the wider library. This is your, this is their library of content that we have. Again, we do have a large kind of amount here, but we're always looking for opportunities to expand it. So vocational, any here that you want to have a look at?
Let's
Looking at clocking on what?
let's look at the Dave and Buster's one.
So it looks to be tax. So greet the customer by saying hello and asking them how their day is going. When they say what they would like a gift card, let them know you're happy to help. So it just seems to be a tax-based one. log into checkout computer. Scan the barcode, so there's a visual prompt. Scan on the gift card, wait for the beep, enter the amount, press save, hand the gift card to the customer. So again, this is kind of like a template, so you could probably needs to be personalized for each store, I'm not sure, but you could use it as a template and then download it and then edit it.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good example of something that somebody working in a retail environment may have to do though, so that's good.
Yeah, and again, we try to kind of look and you know, for all the customers that we have, them, what do you need? What is, you know, because no point us creating content that only might be suitable for one. So, you know, even if it's yourself, what industry are you working in? Can we create a template? You know, do we think that it'll help others, that it'll scale? And obviously that would be kind of, you know, we'd want to create content that will support maybe the majority of our customers. And then, you know, for those unique cases that obviously the agency will create themselves.
Grab a clean uniform in your closet, a clean pair of socks, your work tennis shoes, your work badge, a pin for your pocket, and put those items on 1 hour before your work shift.
Okay. And quickly see, is there any else you want to see? There's Dave and Buster's. There must be somebody working here that shared their content.
That's
so
okay. These examples were helpful as far as, I mean, I really like the getting ready one because we're constantly dealing with, I forgot my name tag, I forgot my shoes, I forgot my apron, I forgot my hat. So that would be helpful for people to use before they leave to go to work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, well look, I'll send on the video because there's no point pushing it. It's just it's it's a 2-minute video, but you'll see it. There might be actually more, so it's probably better that we can send it all together at once. But any thoughts or questions, guys, or is it something that you think that you can see, you know, being implemented or beneficial to your group?
I mean, I definitely see some areas where it would benefit us. I guess my one big question, because I work for a nonprofit, is how does the purchasing and the licensing work? Because like in my department, I probably have close to 40 staff that would need to be able to use this when they're working with people. So does the agency purchase a license to be able to use with the people that they serve and all their staff, or how does that work?
That's a good question. So the license is always with the individual. So be it, you know, a student, or be it, you know, the individual that you're serving. And that includes all of staff. So it's not an additional cost for the staff members. It goes by the individuals that you're serving. And all of that is kind of included.
You purchased like for however many individuals you need.
Correct.
Is that correct? Okay.
And then can you give me, I mean, is there a cost per individual? Is there a cost to purchase the program as a whole, or how does that work?
Yeah, it's so the minimum of 10, which would just be kind of your starting off point. And that would be 3,600 for 10 licenses. And then there's discounts then up from that. So there's like, if we look at, I don't know if it would be a potential 2 different purchases, but you know, on scale, you get a discount. So here you might be looking at, you know, putting that kind of somewhat together maybe to benefit from the discounts.
And that does include the training and the onboarding and ongoing support too, where they kind of check in with you and they kind of monitor it. If you're not using the system, they check in, and maybe we need another virtual session to get you going again. So it includes all of that.
Is that a one-time fee, or is there like an annual?
No, that's an annual subscription fee.
Annual subscription.
Because of the services and the content and all that we can provide. So just to recap on what Heidi, we do have a blended deployment kind of program. So we provide a training, our service team provides the training, which is remote, and then we have go-to guides as part of our, you know, help desk that we snippets of videos of everything. So even if you don't, we're finding even that people might not require the training to be present at the training and can just use the snippets of videos. And again, the services team check in regularly with the agency and answers any questions that they have. And sometimes even, I shouldn't be saying this, but sometimes help with content creation as well, if there's kind of discovery that they may need.
So how would that work? Like if the school district purchased licenses for a group of students, but my company also served those same students, then could we share that? Could Jamie and I share that content based on that student? Does that make sense?
If you are okay with the other party having access to that profile, then that's down to you. So yeah, so the school might purchase it or vice versa. And then we'll say the other member is added to that account as an additional facilitator to contribute.
And I can send a roles and permissions type of sheet. I'll send that to you along with the flyer and the pricing and some documents that'll help you kind of understand that. But that's kind of the beauty of it, is that it's around that individual and then all of the support people that need to be involved in that individual. So that's why it's an individual license.
And it was one of the most requested features that we've just developed version 2, and that exact example is why one of the reasons why we developed version 2, but it was the most requested feature, because like that, if you're working in solo, then what was happening before, people were sharing login details, which wasn't obviously secure because they wanted to have access or to create content. So here it's like, we need to do it securely, so you can have the job coach, you can have the parent, and that there's no additional cost, that we just do it one price then, and it just works for everyone. So we try to keep it as straightforward as possible.
Yeah, and it can be the OT or
and I'm thinking about, there's.
Go ahead.
Anyone, any service provider, yep.
So is that it?
Oh, sorry, if you could send that information about the costs, that would be great, because that's gonna take some figuring out, I think. On everybody's end, what that would look like and how that would work. So, yes.
Yeah. How are you are you drawing different funding from VR or for the kind of adult provider side?
So for me, yes, so we work with North Dakota Vocational Rehabilitation and then the North Dakota Department of Human Services, and then obviously the schools. None of those places though pay for anything like this. So my company would have to purchase it. I mean, I can't speak for the school, but in my case, my company would have to be the one to purchase these licenses. However, I do think there's got to be a way where like VR and the school district and us could maybe come together to figure that part out so that not any one person or any one agency has to bear the cost of all of it. Because you're talking about roughly $360 a year per person to potentially have access to something that might make them 10 times more independent than they are now. It's just going to be a matter of trying to convince all the people that make those decisions that this is a good idea. So, yeah.
Ricky, just to speak really quickly on that, we're holding a job fair in Minot next week, and we're actually having job fair tables that are teachers and voc rehab regional people working these tables together. And I'm going to have obviously Pays and Project Discovery there, but we're going to have Avail there as well. And so that's a huge part of my goal is to figure out this funding piece that you're talking about. I don't understand it yet. And so I do have, there's like the Minot people and the Williston voc rehab people will be at that fair and will be working with me for 2 days. So I think I'm going to learn a lot in the next couple of weeks. So I'll keep you posted.
And if there's anything that we can do on the VR side, because, you know, I know every state works differently, but we have a lot of states that have funded, and Medicaid in Iowa as well as one example. We recently had a conversation with under assisted technology. So again, we try to adapt to suit. And again, legally, there's a play there that if somebody needs an accommodation and be it assisted technology, there is like a you know, federal kind of requirement to provide that. So, you know, we mightn't say assistive technology in education because it's kind of like a digital platform for those with additional needs, but in VR world, that's how you might approach it.
Yeah, I definitely would be interested in following up with you, Heidi, after your thing that you're doing next week. Unfortunately, I'm not able to come to Minot during that time. We just have some serious staffing issues happening right now that are not going to allow me to get away, but I would be very interested to see how we could potentially use this collaboratively amongst multiple agencies.
Can we schedule a follow-up?
And I think that's on the school line configure.
Say that
Yeah,
again.
go ahead, Heidi.
Oh, I was just going to ask if we could schedule a
I
follow-up.
think we can figure out you from the school end. Yeah. Yes, let's do that.
Okay. I could barely hear you, Jamie, but I think you said this to follow up with you for the appointment.
Oh, that's okay. Yeah, let's schedule a follow.
Okay. I'm available on either the 7th or the 8th of February. Does that work for either of you? Or even the morning of the 9th, the morning of the 7th, 8th or 9th? Lisa Marie might be able to join us if we do morning because she's in Ireland, but otherwise I'll just follow up with you.
I'm actually in the States that week, maybe.
Oh,
but yeah,
I didn't know that.
Well, just in plan and finalizing, but
okay. Otherwise I'm open the 13th.
it's a bit choppy. Sorry, guys.
Time on either the 7th or the 8th. I don't know.
See, the 7th. I could do 1 o'clock on the 7th.
Works for me.
Okay.
Okay. All right. I'll send a Zoom link for
Let's
it.
plan for that.
All right. Perfect.
Okay.
Awesome. I hope I have some really good news to report after the job fair. So I'm going to try my best to figure it all out.
Great. Great. I know we're on time, guys. Yeah.
Thank you.
We'll follow up with the videos, and Heidi probably have more information to follow up, but just feel free to ping us with any questions you have.
Thanks so much, you guys. And I did record this. I'll
Sounds
send
good. Thank you, guys.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.